So the purpose of this is not to create those fully fledged enterprise level CRMs, but we'll cover things along the line of capturing people, companies, relationships, management, and how to track active and prospect customers, that kind of stuff. So this is a brand new graph. It doesn't have much. As you can see, I just added a project tag, so we'll add a bunch of, everything will be added as we go here. So we will aim to not over-engineer because starting small is usually better. So we don't spend more time thinking about what needs to be set up, but rather uh, build something that's useful, and then over time, as a need arise, then add extra properties or tags and so on. So with that said, let's get into it. So let's look at what I like to do usually is I have a parent tag where I keep all my custom tags. So there is this is a page. I shouldn't do a page. So since I made it a page, I can convert to a tag. So we'll keep everything under DZ, and then the tag we're going to use for this CRM is actually going to be called CRM. So I use a command palette usually. So CRM, and CRM will have a parent set as DZ here. I don't want to extend. Let me go back. So I'll go here, tag CRM. Oops. Here, CRM. And now I should be able to change it. There you go. So, and why do I like it that this way? See now when I go on the, when I look at the DZ tag, I can see my CRM. So will I add some properties here? Rarely. So all right, so now this is where the simple CRM tracking is going to happen. Let's hide some of these columns here. Created, updated, we don't care about them right now. The tags, I think we can even hide that for now. Okay, so for this CRM, what are we going to do? We'll make it practical, right? So when I said simplicity trumps whatever we want to do here, right? So we are engaging with a customer. Let's pretend we are a small IT shop, let's say. And with everybody talking about AI, let's say we need to create an AI agent, for example, AI agent for sales. And this is for a customer, right? So I just mentioned a customer. A customer is will have a business. So what we want to do here is we're going to say business. So this is a property I started adding, and I got interrupted. Kids walked around, so I had to stop the recording and redo because once again I don't do double takes usually, so it's one shot recording. So anyway, so that's why you kind of see this here, but you'll see me create new properties. So this business property is here, and it is of type node, and the node in question is a company. Okay. So we will do another one. So AI agent for what company? This is going to be, what example can I use? Let's see. Let's do Rob salesman, sales factory. Well, we're making this up as well. So that's the company name. And at this company, so who are we engaging with to create this agent? So just like we can create new properties here, we can do the same here. So we're going to add another one here. So you will notice that contact person is actually another one. So we'll make it descriptive. So contact person is a new property. And let's actually do this. Why not? I'm going to delete this property so we can see it firsthand being added. So let's do contact. It shows, but it's blank. So anyway, so and what contact person, what a person is going to be a tag in our CRM system. So what will that tag be? So we can make it a person, okay? So that then allows us to do what? We can say, we can provide the name of a person we're going to work with. So I'm going to say Rob Davis. So, and if you're wondering, okay, well, why do we need to do all of this? If I click on Rob Davis, look here, Rob Davis is a person. The tag is right here. If I go back and I look at Rob Sales Factory, we can see that's a company. And we can slowly see some linked references. This is the nice thing about applications like Logseq being an outliner and then um, having tags and link references. So we can kind of see, okay, in our CRM, we have this engagement going on, and then we have, anyway, so with all that said, we continue here. So about this engagement, what is it that we really want to capture going forward? So we do want to provide to this company maybe an an estimate of, let's say, the work, an estimate of the an estimated cost for building an AI agent. So we'll do new estimate. We'll make it a number. So that's to add whatever your currency is. There is no currency support, so that currency is a number. So that's why we did a number. Okay. So, and what else do we want to capture? So for this engagement, the estimated amount, let's say 12,000. Why not? Nobody cares. Let's do it. So next, we also, this is at the beginning, right? So what if we work with the customer and we have an agreement, basically a contract, right? So like contract signed. If we have a contract signed, then that signals that maybe we actually want to capture a contract's signature, right? So I'd say, let's do it here. So I'll do um, contract sign. I think we can do CRM status. So this is a status. So I could have used the word, I mean, the property name status, but there is already status in Logseq. So I'll rather make it unique. So status. It's not my preference, but this is because of the way Logseq or so properties are unique basically in Logseq, except the built-in ones we can override. We can create additional properties with the same name as the built-in one, but it's a little finicky. So we don't want to get into the weeds with that. So, but what we'll do here is I'll say CRM status, and then I'll do type text, and we want to make this let's say a choice, right? So when I say a choice, we want to choose whether um, let's see how we do this. So available choices. So we want to say, well, at what phase are we at with the engagement with the customer? So let's say initial, maybe initial. So it's an initial engagement when we begin talking to the customer. Let's add another one for let's say we started talking to them, but we need more details. Okay, we add that. And if you're wondering about this window closing, I think the UI experience could be improved, but this is what we have. So follow up. What if you want to follow up with that customer about this engagement? And notice now, after we add 3 items, for some reason, this model will stay open. So, all right, I'll take it. So do we need to meet with the customer? So that's that. And let's see, what were we talking about? Signed contract. There you go. So the customer signed a contract. So, and everything we mentioned is been around starting the engagement, but and then signing. But what if the deal doesn't fall through? So that's like declined. So all right, so that is it. What we can also do is we can set an initial value, not a default value to these choices so that we don't have to manually set it every time. So initial is like anytime we add a new record, then what will be the default value that we get? So we'll add a new one here, but we'll see. So this AI agent for sales. Um, we'll say initial here. You can see I added a new record, and anytime I add a new record, we see in the empty line, we can give it a name for the engagement, but you can see CRM status having the initial value. So that's the purpose of that default. So what else do we want to capture? Um, so when we engage the customer, like we have some meetings here or follow up, it probably will be good to know when a customer says, "Well, we need to talk to the board, or we need to talk to whatever legal team, let's say, for instance, right?" So it'd be good to know when we need to go back to the customer. So maybe that's what something we can track. We can track with last contact. So that's like last contact date, right? So we do a date here. And we could do date time. I don't see value in time here really, but I'll just do date for simplicity's sake. And then since we're saying last contact, it may be good to actually track when we first contacted the customer. Let's do that. First contact. All right, let's do that. And it's a date. So we're saying we contacted this customer. Let's say, let's go back in time. Oh, what is it doing to me here? We changed the UI on me a little bit. So I say we last, our last contact customer was that. Actually, let me change the order. First contact, keep doing the same thing. Yeah, the UI needs to be tweaked a little bit here. I don't know. This is not super friendly. All right, let's go to, let's say, okay, and let's say the last contact and then this one. Yeah, so all right, so at this point, we are able to capture engagements, we are able to capture costs, um, estimated costs. What if, when we sign the contract, I think when we sign the contract, we probably want to capture the exact amount that's been agreed to. So that way, over time, we can compare, for example, the difference between the estimated, because sometimes we make deals with customers. I'll say, let's add amount, and let's reorganize a little bit and say, this one we ended up at, um, or the amount can go up, right? Because the scoping can change, whatever that is. Fine. So let's say same amount. Why not? So let's see here. So we got that. All right. So now I think this is enough for a small use case. When I say small use case, I'm running my small business, and then I want to track customers. I want to track whatever engagement I have going on. So to make this a bit a bit more practical, let's add a couple of examples. So let's say build build a new site for um, Brando dealership, something like that. Okay. Yeah, I didn't quite do what I needed to do, what I needed here. So let's go back. All right, what I'll do, let's go to here. So let's do build a new website for Brando dealership. Okay. And We're going to call this Brando dealer trip. Okay. And this one is, I'm just putting random numbers here. And last contact is, let's say, a day ago. First contact was prior. And this one is, I would say, CRM. Let's assume the contract has been signed here. So estimated, and then we ended up charging them 2,500, for example. Okay. And the contact person is the Mr. Brando Steve. Okay. All right. So we have two examples here. Let's add one more. That way we can because we're going to build a small dashboard so we can see what's really going on. So let's say database migration, maybe here, migration to the cloud, something like that, right? And here we say, let's do Don Davis investment, something like that. And that's the company, and the name of the customer is Don Davis. Okay. And here we will charge them 4,500 estimated. That's that. We contacted them back in June. That's the last contact, and then the amount, we don't have any agreement. The amount is 0 here. So, all right. So, all right. So now we have some examples here, and I will do changes from initial to, let's say, follow up. Okay. All right. So this is a CRM for the most, when I say the customer engagement part, right? So what we want to do now is, Don Davis, if we want to contact this customer, we better have a phone number for them, right? So this is part of that building, starting to build small. So we started on one end and then we made our way here. So Don Davis is here, but he doesn't have a phone number. Where do we keep that phone number? He is a person, most person on this planet now have a phone number, right? So an email. So click on the person tag, and then we're going to add email. So email is of type text, and then a person has a phone number. Okay, so we'll say phone, and then phone number is going to be a text as well. Okay, so we could add company as well. Why not? What company they work for, and for that we'll do a node, the property of type node, and then we will pick company. We already had company early on, right? So then this becomes like our address book for our persons. Now you may be wondering, well, this is a person, but what if we wanted to make it? We want to use contact instead. So let's look at that a little bit. Now, what I'll do here is we will create a new tag called contact. Oops, clicking in here. Okay, contact. That's a tag. And tag is, this contact is going to inherit from person, because we don't want to recreate the same properties, right? So what this means is properties of person will also be available on contact here. And what I'll go do is, let's go back. This is a slight change, right? So what we have here, contact person, we have a term, the keyword contact here. If we wanted to, we could be changing this to say contact. Okay, and while I'm at it, what I'll do is I'm going to change and say, well, we don't want to set both, right? So we'll just set one. Now, here's the interesting bit. If I go to person, I can see these three persons here. But what if I go to contact? I see nothing. Okay, how do we fix that? Because if we go in our CRM, we're not going to see. I mean, we still see these here, but over time, we're not going to see those same users. So what we can do is let's go to person here, and then I'll select all of these here, and then I'll set a tag. So this is just one way to highlight that you can set multiple tags to nodes. So these entities here. So I know what I'll do. I will onset person tag from them. And now if I go to contact, I can see them. Now, you may be wondering, how on earth are we seeing the same contact on the person? Because we extended contact from person. That's why. So to make this a bit, maybe make it so it's a bit understood, right? So let's say I'll add a new node and say, let's see, um, Steve Jobs is a person, right? I say Steve Jobs is a person. Now let's go look at person. We can see under person, we have Steve Jobs, he's a person, but we also see those here. But then if I go under contact, I can only see the contact one. So for our CRM, we only care about the contact one, and let's make it a bit more interesting. So contact is a tag, and it's under this, right? So I can say, I can go, I could put basically contact. Let's see here. Is being inherited from this, right? So if I wanted to, I could set this also here as CRM. CRM does not have any property, but what this provides us is over time I can look at this here. Or if you remember, I prefer putting all my stuff under, let's say, a parent one here. So because contact can be used by other in other workflows or scenarios, I probably will go and pick this one up here and change this from just being CRM, but I'll put it under this one. So then if I go to DZ and I look here, I can see CRM, I can see contact. So anyway, we won't go too deep into that. Maybe someday I'll cover some of that from my use cases. All right, so let's go back to the CRM and take a look at what we have. So persons, we added, contact. Okay, so Rob is a contact. Actually, I should not have done this specific part because I added CRM, then I'm getting the properties from CRM. So that was not something I should have done. Let me go back here. Where am I? Easy and contact. Take a look. Okay, let's double check. Okay, all right, so let's do that. I'm going to change this back for now. Do this. Okay, so let's go to CRM, and then if I look at Rob Davis, yeah, it picks up some of these items which I didn't really want to, but okay. So with that detour, but we can see here. Yeah, I did a pause for a brief seconds here, and then closely look and make sure things are set. So the contact we see email, phone, and company. So One thing to keep in mind here is in the CRM, we did set the company. This is in the context of the activity, basically, the sales activity, and we provided the contact name and the business. So in this specific case here, the relationship we can still retrieve and find info, but when we go here, the good news is with link references, and we can see what information is available related to the CRM engagement activity. Then I'm just going to do set the company here on the contact level here. So what is that? So that's this one. Phone number, yes, we can set phone numbers and emails. So we don't have to spend too much time doing that here. So self-explanatory. Don Davis, same thing here. Don, and then I'll do Rob and Rob Sales Factory here. So, all right, so that's done. And if we were to look at the companies, we don't have any properties set for companies. So let's click on that property here. So for a company, what do we really want to capture? So that's maybe the sky's the limit here, right? So the first thing that comes in mind is maybe website. So website will be type URL, and then we can add the URL of their site on there. So you can go crazy with it. Like, is it a public traded company? Is it you can put the founder's name and so on. So just add properties, and this becomes your once again, right? So it becomes like a small database of companies you interact with. So then you have a list here. One thing that could be nice to for the view here, this numbering is just there um, for visualizing. If you were to change the sorting, just to be clear, right? So if you change the sorting, these numbers remain, but your sorting numbers change. So it's mainly for visual effect. Anyhow, so all right. So now we have data inserted here into the CRM. So all activities, this would be the entry point. Anytime we engage with a customer and so on, we'll come here and then we make changes and we good. So with that said though, or maybe this then needs to be pinned. So add it to favorite. That way we have easy access to it. Okay. Now, um, next step is how do we get access to information that we have in this CRM? Yes, it has 3 items, but we can add more, right? So in a CRM, I would think we probably want to have a view of clients. So we'll add a new view here for, what do we call it? Call this clients, okay? So for clients, we want to filter um, how do we do this? So it's essentially everything, but we don't necessarily care about, um, I guess, what do we call a client? A client is, I guess, we sign a contract and then they become a client or a customer. So we'll filter by, let's say, CRM status, yeah, and then it's a signed contract. Yes, a customer that has a contract with us is a client. Okay, so if we want, we can, because we're not looking at the engagements necessarily, so we can hide everything here and then that. We want the contact, when did we last talk to them, the business, and then we'll remove that. So that shows us, um, yeah, so first contact will be when they became a customer. Well, last contact probably is when we can assume they became a customer. But again, I was speaking of starting simple, right? So over time, if you want to capture, okay, when did they become a customer and choose set date, another field to capture that date, yes, we can, right? So that's that. So these are clients. And what do we do here? We can say maybe prospect, prospect. So again, we can go many directions. So not just initial, but in this case, we want to filter and say CRM and maybe do follow-up. So something along that line. So in the spirit of starting simple as the business is moving along and so on, right? You can create different views to give you access to the relevant information that matters at a given time. So, and since we captured client, maybe um, I don't know, maybe we should have called this leads. How about that? Maybe that's more representative. There you go. So leads, and it could be, we could do maybe is not, and we change this to sign contract, and we capture everything else. So these are leads we're working on, and to clean things up a little bit, that hide those, and then we hide this because we want space. If there's one thing that in Logseq right now, DB, that needs to change is, or at least from my perspective, I spend anytime I do some setups, I have to spend time resizing columns. So that's not a good use of my time, unfortunately, but this is what we have. But anyway, so we can see that we have clients, we have leads, so it's straightforward, right? And this is everything. So you can come click here, add new entries and stuff like that. Okay. All right. To finalize, I think maybe we can add some we add these as dashboard. So sometime clicking on these, sure, it's fine, but what if we want to see everything at a glance? So we cannot do this with tags here, I mean the tag table. So I think the preference would be to maybe create another page and use it as a CRM dashboard. So CRM dashboard, okay. And we are going to add this to favorite once again, so we can easily access it. And the trick with this is we have to rely on queries essentially to replicate some of what we've done on the other side. So is it maybe redundant? Maybe. So let's do simple query, which is capable. It has its quirks, but we'll do with it. So click on that, and then we want to go after um, tag CRM, and it shows us everything here, and we want to filter out signed, so a client engagements that have a signed contract, pretty much those, and then we capture the customer from those, let's say. So then we want to look for property. Yeah, there you go. So property, CRM status, signed contract. And then we can hide a bunch of columns here. Hide. And then hide that. And oh, I want to hide as well. Let's see. Yeah, so I think this will do. One could go the advanced query route and then make it so we hide, let's say, the name here. But yeah, we can go many different ways, but we're trying to keep this simple, right? It doesn't hurt to see what type of engagement is there for these customers. So for this one, we'll do client, and let's see, and let's give it a bit of heading here, so it looks nice. One thing I don't like about heading with queries today, the cogwheel shifts to a little higher up. So, but whatever, I guess we'll do with it. So now I have a table with the client info here. So now next one is going to be, we do another simple query for leads. So we'll do tag CRM, and we want to do property CRM status, and we want to do sign contract. but this time we're going to do not signed contract. Okay, then it gives us that view here. So here we're saying these are our leads. So heading 2, and we will hide the query and repeat the same thing here. So for leads, it'd be good to know what estimated amount we are dealing with, right? So we do that, and the engagement, and that. So here, see, I'm doing the resizing here again, because so for clients, it would be good to know how much money we're collecting from them, right? So that's maybe valuable to add. Actually, let's do this. Let me hide these in the interest of space. All right, and here, bit of cleanup one more time. So leads, we want to know what the engagement is, what company we're talking about, who are we talking to, and we can even hide. Actually, no, here we need the CRM status to know what phase we're in with the interaction with the customer. But estimated is important here, right? The amount also can be important. So anyhow, so we have those. So we have leads, we have that, and then I think we'll stop at that. But you can see that I won't say the sky is the limit, but you can you can add more filters here as you add more properties to the setup. So, all right. In case you haven't noticed, with queries, you cannot use query views. I'm calling this a query view to insert data, which is why I'm adding these different pages as favorite here. So CRM dashboard is acting just as a dashboard. It would be nice if queries would allow us to insert new items, but this will give us a view. And if we want to go in, drill down into one of those items, we can. But for inserting, you go to CRM and you do your insert from here. This is the best I can come up with to make it simple, at least for now, right? Okay, now one may be thinking, okay, great, we added this item, but then doing the work, really. So to do the work, to build, let's say, this new website for Brando, once again, one thing that's nice about Logseq is it's an outliner. So under this item, we can capture whatever we need, right? So we can add, for example, what am I thinking about? Let's say, as you can say, specification document, for example, right? Specification document. Yeah. So and then add whatever, right? So what requirement. And if you want to make it a bit more specific, yeah, you could make it a page if it's something big that needs to happen. And you have options. Essentially, you can, for example, create as well a template. So if we wanted to create a template with a structure that we need to use for each engagement, we could do that. And anytime you create a new CRM entry, the template will apply to that node essentially here. So um, trying to not make this video long, but I almost feel like maybe I should do that. Why not? Let's do it. Why not? We already spent time. So template is here. So let's do one for. I like to call my templates template column, and then I'll do CRM template. It's redundant, but that's just me. So, and I want to say, anytime we create a new entry with a new node with CRM tag, we want that template to take effect. So there is that. Now, what do we want here? So we want to do scoping, legal, um, pricing, discussion, notes, So you could do something like this, right? So we'll do okay. All right, you could do something like this. And then when we go back to CRM here, running out of ideas at this point. So let's do um, search engine. All right. So as soon as we created that, if you haven't noticed, it happened so fast underneath, we see that it populated the template. So you can do some, you can use template to add a bit more content. So to streamline, so you have a standardized way of collecting information about these engagements. So that is pretty much it. So let's go back and look at what we've done. So in our CRM, we looked at how we add people, right? So a person, and in the context of a business, we called it contact. So we switched from person tag to contact tag. So that is done. I can click here and then say done. And because this has been going on for an hour, sometimes our business, we've done the same thing as well. So, and I'm going to change that to done. And ability to capture customer relationship. So I think we covered that as well. And the ability to track active and prospect. So that's using CRM status. So we have that covered as well. All right. So hopefully this is helpful. We a simple CRM that anyone can do, and maybe I can add a bit of bonus. Why not? Let's do it. So, in case you don't know, there is a what we call query functions. So one thing that is not straightforward in Logseq is computation here. So I suspect someone will say, well, in Notion we can do calculations and so on. I believe I'm not a Notion user, but I think I've seen some stuff. You can do calculations. Um, Obsidian also, I believe, that has some capabilities around that, maybe via plugins. But in Logseq, we have what we call query function, and they only work with queries. Now, they do not work in a new tag table. Would it be nice? Maybe, I would say, but maybe raise a feedback, and the devs will let us know if they'll do it or not. So, but for now, what we can do is we can add query functions. So how do we do that? So it has an interesting syntax, right? So we'll do function here. So what we want to do is we want to uh, do a summation of the amount that we are collecting from our clients right now. So we'll do function, and then we'll do, let's say, sum. And for this now, we want to capture this amount right here. So to capture this amount, we need a property name. And that property name, we're going to have to go get it. So I click on this amount here, and let's see. No, this is not the right way to go about it. So let me go here, and then I'll click on property here, and then go to property amount. I will right click and choose a show page data, and the property name under the hood is this one right here. So I'm going to copy that, and then we go back to a CRM dashboard, okay? And then we will add that right here, okay? So once we do that, it's a little finicky. There is a bug right now, so if I do this, it won't work yet. And go back, and it shows. So as you can see here, now what I'll do is, if for the sake of demo, right? So I want to do, I'm going to do the opposite. So I'll do not signed, and I'll add, actually, I'm not gonna do that. So let me unwrap this, and here I will do signed contract. It's got a 0 value. I'll add some number here. Okay. Because of a bug, I had to move that node around a little bit, and we can see that we have a summation here. So I could say um, total amount, and type, and that. So then we have the total amount that we're collecting from customers. So this is how you could do a calculation. So to make it even more fun, why not? I'll make it a table. So let's do this, and I'll do calculation, and I'll do value, and I'll put this under, wrap this under that. Let's do this one. Okay, so looks like this, and just so that people see, you'll see what you can do with that. Let's go back. What happened to my cursor? So I will do average amount, and then this one right here, if I remember, it's going to be, I think it's average, something like that, right? Yeah, there you go. So with this, this is how you can get some calculations with the CRM. Is it elegant? I think there's room for improvement here, because we end up with a ton of tables only to say, okay, well, this is the total that we want, but it's better than nothing. So there we have it. Thank you all for listening. If you listened all the way to the end, I hope this is useful. The next round, I'm thinking about maybe a book framework, just to mimic what's that book framework that's in on Logseq's website that everybody keeps talking about, and it was somewhat difficult to do in Logseq MD mode, Markdown mode, but it's now feasible in DB mode. So with that, enjoy your weekend, and see you around.